Parliament after fulfilling rules set by Speaker of Parliament. Government receives coronavirus protective equipment from China worth 700 million shillings. And in sports, Simba Sports Club launches digital database to enable club to get accurate membership and supporter numbers. Good evening, this is Capital News at 9:30. My name is Vanessa Victor. Let's get things started with the national news. Some members of Parliament of opposition party CHADEMA who went into quarantine for 14 days as part of the fight against the coronavirus have begun to return to Parliament after fulfilling the rules set by the Speaker of Parliament for them to get tested and return the money they took.
Kwa hiyo masharti ambayo tulipewa na Speaker wa Bunge kwamba
all instructions given by Honorable Speaker before arriving to the House of Parliament, such as returning the money and having a health check, have been honored. And this is why I was allowed to enter today.
In another move, when delivering the budget for the Ministry of Finance, the Minister of Finance, Philip Mpango, said there are many strategies to strengthen the economy.
The ministry has secured a 3.44 trillion shillings loan from the internal market, equivalent to 101.5% of the plan to borrow 3.3 trillion shillings and 1.82 trillion shillings loan from the external market, equivalent to 78.66%. We all know that in addition to corona affecting us health-wise, it has a huge potential to hurt us economically if we choose to abandon our economic activities until this pandemic is over. So we must take precaution, but carry on with work. Tanzania Revenue Authority in Lindi is holding a lot of vehicles because of unpaid taxes. This is my suggestion to allow them to pay monthly.
Ni kwamba hawa watu waruhusiwe hata kulipa kodi ya mwezi.
The government of Tanzania has received protective equipment for healthcare providers from the People's Republic of China worth over 700 million shillings, and also stated that the number of COVID-19 patients hospitalized in special centers has been reduced.
Sisi kwa Tanzania tuna wagonjwa sasa hivi wachache tulionao katika vituo vyetu.
In Tanzania, we currently have few patients in our health centers in Amana. For example, we have 12 patients and most are doing well. 6 in Mloganzila, and in Ulanzi Kibaha there is 24. I would like to urge health workers to take care of the patients well. I commend the government of China and the ambassador for the aid received, which will help us in treating our patients.
These donations include 2,000 N95 protective masks for medical use, 10,000 surgical masks, 10,000 surgical gloves, 10,000 medical isolation shoe covers, 2,000 pieces of protective clothing, 2,000 medical protective goggles, and 500 infrared thermometers. The same amount of medical donation have been delivered and handed over to the revolutionary government of Zanzibar last week.
And employees of Mazaba Fabrics and Production Factory in Morogoro have been prevented from entering the factory to work after conflict emerged between them and the management on the possible shutdown of the factory from May the 24th due to claims that the market for their products has been affected by COVID-19.
We are asking for our rights. We've not been allowed to enter. We don't have a clue what is going on. We've been informed that our grievances will not be heard until the case has been resolved. If anyone used this incident as a reason to protest, the police force will deal with you accordingly. We know that they have employee rights, but there are procedures to be followed through their representatives. Some of the representatives who were representing us in demanding for our rights have been beaten without any justification. We are asking for our rights and have not caused any trouble.
The Prevention and Combating of Corruption Bureau, PCCB, has said it is investigating embezzlement allegations within Tanzania Football Federation, TFF, which include 1 billion shillings given by the president to help the national team Serengeti Boys.
Rais ni kweli alitoa fedha kwa ajili ya timu yetu.
It is true that Honorable President issued funds for our team immediately after the President showed the other stakeholders also came up to support the efforts. It is true that some funds were misused and the Institute is aware of that and have made initiatives to investigate. As we all know, people in the sports sector are good in dialogues, evaluation, as well as creating hypotheses. What is sad is that whenever there are corruption reports, no one is ready to cooperate with us in finding out solution to such problems.
Uchunguzi uko vizuri. Tunawaita watu wote wanaohusika.
The government has set aside over 60 billion shillings to rebuild 210 kilometers of railway from Kaliua in Tabora region to Mpanda in Katavi region, as the current railway is small, dilapidated, as well as unable to transport large cargo, causing disturbances to passengers as well as cargo transporters.
Would like very much to do 80, but in this budget approved by the House of Parliament, it has only been budgeted for 60 to 80. The rail tracks are not wide enough, which means that you cannot go at high speed. This railway cannot transport heavy goods, but if a stronger railway line could be laid, then the number of accidents previously seen could be reduced.
Usumbufu mkubwa, isitoshe hii reli toke mkoloni imewekwa, ina maana reli imeshazeeka sana.
This railway line is old. Since pre-independence era, there is hardly any cargo that passes here.
Katavi kwenda mkoa Tabora, kwa kweli unakuta zinaferi njiani.
MPs of the Council of Representatives have questioned Zanzibar's Minister of Constitutional and Legal Affairs on implementation of the Union Constitution on the side of Zanzibar.
To improve legal institutions' performance, the hearing of cases, compensation and criminal cases, better record keeping and audit.
Mheshimiwa, toka mwaka 96 sheria ya
2003 it was officially started, but up to date this matter has not been resolved.
Ni wizara ipi hasa inayohusika na mambo haya?
Which ministry is responsible for this? Is it your ministry or the ministry in charge of law and constitution? Who is responsible for the report?
Anachambua haki za binadamu.
The Chief Medical Officer in the Ministry of Health, Community Development, Gender, Elderly and Children, Professor Abel Makubi, has refuted rumors that 92 people have died from coronavirus and been buried at night at Kola Cemetery in Morogoro Municipal, emphasizing that the rumors have no truth to them. Professor Makubi also asked Tanzanians to be united in this fight against corona instead of spreading propaganda which are of no benefit to the country's interests.
When we got here, we saw the people in charge of burial. I've inspected the graveyard and I have not spotted any fresh graves. So the information is false. This is not a time for propaganda. We must fight this virus together. Misleading information is not helping anyone. People must listen to information provided by the Ministry of Health. What is being said is not true. We've only buried 6 bodies and not more. I urge people not to take this information to be true.
That's all for the national news. International news is next. And in international news, Health Chief Administrative Secretary in Kenya, Dr. Rashid Aman, on Friday announced that Kenya's coronavirus cases had hit 781 after 23 more patients tested positive. Dr. Aman said 23 cases were confirmed from 2,100 samples tested within the last 24 hours, and that the patients are from Nairobi, Mombasa, Kajiado, Kiambu, and Wajir counties.
We have tested 2,100 cases over the last 24 hours. Out of these cases, we have 23 that have tested positive. This brings to 781 the total number of cases that have turned positive. The cases are distributed as follows. In Nairobi, 11 cases. In Mombasa, 5 cases. Kajiado, 3 cases. Kiambu, 2 cases. And Wajir, 2 cases. In Nairobi County, the 11 cases are from Embakasi, 6, Kamkunji, 2, Langata, 2, and Starehe, 1. In Mombasa, all the cases are from Mvita, 5 cases. Consistent with the growing number of losses we are making over the last 24 hours, we have lost 3 more patients to COVID-19.
And the number of confirmed COVID-19 cases in Uganda has risen to 160 after 21 truck drivers tested positive. This is the highest number of infections to be recorded in the country in one day. The new cases are part of 1,896 samples from truck drivers that were tested on Thursday. They include Ugandans, Tanzanians and South Sudanese truck drivers who arrived via Mtakula, Busia and Elegu borders. The total number of truck drivers who have so far tested positive for COVID-19 in Uganda is 100.
The following preliminary conclusions have been derived from the survey.
The following preliminary conclusions have been derived from the survey done. There is no evidence of community transmissions in Uganda at this point. Secondly, we have evidence that are at high risks.
Communities in border districts are at high risk.
The ruling CNDD-FDD party in Burundi has criticized some politicians who have been harassing members of other political parties. The Secretary General of CNDD-FDD, retired General Evariste Ndayishimiye, who is also a presidential candidate in the May 20th general elections, has urged members of different parties to stop causing chaos and instead conduct peaceful campaign rallies.
If a dispute occurs, how are you going to tackle it? Let us not listen to those who want to divide us. From now on, we should all remain united, regardless of our political differences. We are calling on the government to take stern measures against such people.
More than 17,000 flood victims sheltering at a camp after River Tana flooded have called on the government of Kenya to give them essential support as aid from humanitarian organizations is delayed.
This area belongs to the madrasa, and on the other side there is a school, and some houses have been displaced by floods. We are calling on Good Samaritans to come forward and helpers.
Kule pia iko karibu kama mita 2-3 hivi.
That's all for international news. Business news follows after this break.
Watch Business Edition as we talk to business leaders and experts in sectors that are transforming Tanzania's economy.
We believe that the driver is the customer.
To change the mindset of traditional HR to the digitalization.
Make sure that everybody can get some access to financial services.
And once we understand the vision of our leaders, we then need to be behind them and help them in achieving that vision.
Business have involved mercantile operations, trade guilds, or shared agricultural production. Infrastructure, construction, financial sectors, tourism, and mining. Business Edition on Friday at 8:15 p.m.
Mbeya Region Commissioner Albert Chalamila has directed commercial officers in the region to create a database that will show development of small-scale entrepreneurs who have been issued with identification cards in order to identify those who qualify to be formalized.
Failure kubwa sana ambayo mwaka jana tulikuwa nayo.
The main challenge that we faced last year is that we didn't have enough data that shows growth and stability of our entrepreneurs. Thus, this year we are determined to collect data that will show growth of our entrepreneurs so that we could manage to know if they qualify to pay TRA taxes according to the laws or not.
Mbeya tumepangiwa vitambulisho 86.
In Mbeya region, we have received 86,000 identity cards, which will be distributed in phases. Our emphasis is that we do observe their sales capacity, although there have been some misunderstandings on qualifications of entrepreneurs to get these identity cards.
Zoezi la mwaka jana tulikuwa na changamoto nyingi.
This year, the government is determined to come up with a different system of issuing the identity cards so that it will be easy to identify entrepreneurs according to their location.
The Energy and Water Regulatory Authority has said that the Clean Water and Environment Conservation Authority in Moshi was top out of 26 authorities in provision of quality service and meeting performance goals during the 2018-2019 period.
As regulators, we do provide certain conditions in following up on such authorities. In our analysis, we have found out that the authority in Moshi has succeeded in providing good services to its people, from availability of water as well as control of water loss. These are results of good planning and management.
Mamlaka ya maji safi na usafi wa mazingira Moshi.
Clean Water and Environmental Authority of Moshi's management and staff up to this level have done all possible to make the achievement, without forgetting great support from Ewura, who were quite cooperative and gave enough guidance. I would also like to thank our customers for their cooperation.
Lakini vile vile kutushirikisha na kutoa ushauri na miongozo.
That's all for business news. Sports is next.
Away first time, good start from Bolt. Bolt leading a moment of going away. Gay trying to go with him, and he's being dragged through the second place, but he's going to win it by 2 meters. Away first time, good start from Bolt. Bolt leading a moment of going away. Gay trying to go with him, and he's being dragged through the second place. position, Joaquinho. He did lose to Lynn.
And now in sports news. Simba Sports Club have officially launched a digital database that will enable the club to get correct numbers of its membership and supporters. Here are more details.
According to the club's Director of Membership and Fans, Hashim Baga, the digital system will be completed soon and will help accelerate the club's target of turning members and fans into potential customers. Baga further revealed the new system will help the club to easily send messages to members and fans. If the system is installed, Simba will become the first team in Tanzania to have a digital database. Simba's rivals, Young Africans, have also embarked on transforming the club, with sponsors GSM promising a different approach to how they handle issues ahead of next season.
And speaking of, Young Africans midfielder Haruna Niyonzima believes they are still in the race to win the mainland Premier League title. Here's more.
The Jangwani Street-based Giants have not enjoyed a good season, as they are currently third on the log, a whopping 20 points behind rivals and table toppers Simba Sports Club. With the mainland league likely to resume soon under directives from President John Pombe Magufuli, the Rwandan player is still confident that they can win the title at the end of the season. Yanga are still in the domestic cup competition after winning their round of 16 contest and will most likely meet Simba in another derby before the season concludes.
And the Premier League has been told by the government it must show some matches on free-to-air TV and put more money into the Football League and grassroots game as a condition for restarting this season. Here are more details.
The demands were made by the Culture Secretary Oliver Dowden at a meeting on Thursday, at which he gave the go-ahead for matches to resume, provided it is safe to do so. The Premier League is in negotiations with its broadcast partners Sky and BT over finding a way of showing some matches free to air if and when the season resumes. The government's preferred solution is that the remaining 45 matches not already covered under the terms of existing TV deals are shown either on freely accessible TV channels or via a streaming platform such as YouTube.
Watford's Troy Deeney has said he will put his family's health before football and has raised concerns about the Premier League's plans to restart the campaign disrupted by COVID-19. Here's more.
31-year-old club captain was part of conference call this week with the Professional Footballers Association, Premier League officials and the government on safety measures surrounding Project Restart, which envisages a return to play in June. Those plans were given a boost on Thursday when the Culture Secretary Oliver Dowden said the government was opening the door for football to return next month, but Deeney said he was against a quick restart. Tottenham's Harry Kane said players were awaiting safety guidance from the league before deciding about a possible return to competitive action.
Lionel Messi insisted Barcelona cannot win the Champions League unless they improve their performances, disagreeing with head coach Setien.
COVID-19 has wreaked havoc globally, bringing sport to a standstill, with the likes of La Liga and the Champions League on hiatus since March. Barca, who returned to individual training last week, had been preparing for the second leg of the Champions League last 16 tie against Napoli when the competition was suspended due to coronavirus. The Spanish giants had drawn 1-1 away to Napoli in February, with Messi claiming Barca could not win the Champions League, a view Setien did not share in April. Messi was asked about the Champions League again ahead of a possible August restart, and the six-time Ballon d'Or winner issued a warning for Barca.
And that sports item ends our news bulletin. On behalf of everyone who worked to bring you this bulletin, my name is Vanessa Victor. Thank you for watching. Good night, stay safe, and have a good weekend.
Watch Capital News live on our social media accounts, YouTube Capital TV and Facebook Capital Television Tanzania from Monday to Friday at 9:30 p.m. Don't forget to subscribe and put notification on.
In Tanzania, we have an amazing array of places we call home. But when it comes to interior designing, decorations, and gardening, we don't make the most of the spaces. On the decor, you learn about designs, styles, functions, elegance, and traditions by being inspired from the best in the field to transform your spaces and create more memories. On Saturday at 7:30 p.m.
Kazi maalum ni hatari kwa afya yako. Tulia nyumbani.
Perspectives for how embassies and high commission operate in Tanzania and how Tanzania can benefit from the presence of this organization, of these embassies in the country. And you can only catch it on the Monday agenda,
which is aired every Monday 8:45 to 9:30 here on Capital Television. Stay tuned.
It's Culinary Delights every Sunday at 7:30 p.m. only on Capital Television.
Kuwa wa kwanza kupata habari za kila aina kupitia chaneli yetu ya YouTube ITV Tanzania. Cha kufanya, ingia YouTube, halafu tafuta chaneli yetu ITV Tanzania. Usisahau kubonyeza subscribe ili uweze kuunganishwa nasi kwa taarifa zetu zote. Kumbuka pia kuruhusu notification ili ujulishwe kila wakati tunapoweka taarifa mpya. ITV